or the alpha uh prey. I don't know. All right, let's see if this works.
Good one.
Yeah, alpha prey makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I did need just to restart. All right. Welcome everyone to Haven of Horror. As always, I am Subject. I have Robert, Kenji Wild, and Noah Torres here.
I'll be Torres.
Yeah, I don't remember which one that is, but I have the character list in front of me.
For a second, I was really impressed with you. I was like, oh, you remember the characters' names this time.
Nope.
Damn it.
Okay, so uh, if you haven't noticed by the picture, the background for this video, the thumbnail, the title, uh, something, we are here to talk about one of two new Predator movies. Um, and honestly, so real quick, I just want to say, I'd like to see them stick with this. Give us like a real story in the Predator live action, and here just an excuse to do crazy Predator things in different time periods. But this is Killer of Killers by Dan Trachtenberg. Although or directed by Dan Trachtenberg. Although I feel like if you're gonna keep doing this, you may need to bring someone else on because I doubt Trachtenberg would be able to keep doing both, depending on how
Yeah, I
involved he
don't know.
was with this. Because he has a story by and directorial credit, of course, but somebody else wrote the actual screenplay. And I don't mean this as an insult. I am shocked there's a screenplay to this.
Well, you have to plan out what happens, but yeah.
Okay, so Noah, tell us.
Storyboard artist credit.
Yeah.
Instead of screenplay credit.
Noah, tell us about Predator, Killer of Killers.
Yeah, so Killer of Killers is the first, like you said, the first of two new Predator movies this year. This one is the streaming exclusive anthology animated film where each segment is focused on a different warrior from a different time period going up against a predator. Yeah, it's executed really well in my opinion. I guess I'll just get right into it. I really like this movie. I'm interested to know how you guys felt about it. I know John's mostly positive on it, but I haven't got the chance to talk to Robert about this yet. But I definitely fall more on the positive side on this movie right now.
Robert, that's your cue to tell us about your thoughts on Predator.
Oh,
okay. This is why the Predator is going to come for you because you're dumb.
I had a kind of a short synopsis just because like this is a really easy movie to describe, and I don't want to get into spoilers yet. So
so we are going to start spoiler free, as spoiler free as you can with this. This is not a plot driven film by any means.
Yeah, so I've been looking forward to this. I love these types of anthology stories. It makes me want like just a full show out of this. Like, don't give me another movie. Like, just I'd take a whole animated series of just each episode is a different predator and a different story. I hope this is able to be successful and launch into more projects like this. This whole thing felt very comic booky to me in a really good way. Like this is the type of just random fun stories you'd expect to see in a Predator. Did Dark Horse do the '90s ones?
So it's funny that you mentioned that because I wish I'd had more time. But I've had the Predator, the original years omnibuses, sitting in my Kindle library forever, and I started it like 3 days before this movie came out, and I really wish I'd been able to get further because I have a feeling it's looking at this stuff. But spoilers for the comics: the first story sucks.
Damn.
It is Predator 2, but not as good with Dutch's brother.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's rough. But anyway, you could continue.
Yeah, so we're in the middle of this kind of Predator resurgence thanks to Dan Trachtenberg and Prey. This franchise was dead before that movie. And then after Prey, it was like, oh my god, we can do good Predator things again. That's
Yeah,
exciting. Well, we'll see how Badlands turns out later this year. Weirdly enough, my biggest, I mean, okay, I've got a few gripes, but my biggest concern by the end of this movie is the exact same one I have when
Is
you
it
get
what
to the
I
end of
have with the
Prey.
post-credit scene, or not really post-credit, but kind
Prob,
of post-credit?
if
let's
not,
save it.
definitely in the same vein.
Let's
We'll
save it, guys.
elaborate more on that later.
So I won't get any spoilers, but I love this movie up until the third act, and then I'm kind of mixed on it. I did rewatch this, and I had a better viewing of the third act, but a part of me thinks that third act is a mistake entirely, but I also like it.
I'm very interested to talk about that with you guys because John, I think I had a similar experience to you, but I don't think it quite like ruined the movie for me or like
No, so I
it,
will just say this is still my second favorite movie of the year so far.
mhm.
Like the third act is, but the first like
Yeah,
half is amazing.
it's great. It's great. I love each of the individual segments almost equally, I think at this point. I wanted to try to rewatch it before this review, but I didn't really have the time, but that's really how much I enjoyed watching this movie the first time around. Particularly, I think that the action is really well choreographed. And in the first segment with the Vikings, there's this great oneer shot where you see them um, break into like this base, I guess, of like the person that this main character is trying to get revenge on. And there's so many just like great moments and great kills. This is a very gory movie. um,
Oh yeah.
but it's a really well choreographed and planned out oneer that I thought was a highlight of that particular segment. Um, yeah, so
This to me felt like watching like the 90s Predator cartoon we never got that they wouldn't have been allowed to make.
yeah,
That's the biggest compliment I can give this.
Yeah.
it's kind of like the
So
'90s Predator cartoon for kids, but instead it has gore in it. It's the
Yeah.
R-rated
so
version.
I'm gonna take you one further on that, Robert, because I just thought of this, and I don't mean this in a bad way. This is the direct to DVD movie that they make out of like the first three episodes of a television show, like Batman
Yeah.
Beyond the movie.
Yeah,
That's a great point.
Um, I would be okay with a show. The only reason I hesitate to say a show is because I feel like a show would have to be even cheaper. And if there is one consistent negative, is this movie shows its budget and really bad at times.
yeah, I think I would have to agree with that. So I've got kind of mixed feelings about the animation. It goes very much for that sort of Spider-Verse kind of style where it has some low
It
frame
reminds
rate.
me a lot of that TMNT movie from last year,
Couple
Yeah,
years
either
ago.
last
a
year
couple
or a
years
couple years ago.
ago.
I never actually saw that, but
It's not very good.
Spider-Verse has had a few imitators now just because of how
Yeah.
influential that movie was.
Mhm.
This is one of them. I think it does it okay. Like I like what it's trying to go for, but I don't know if it's because this is a streaming movie and they have such a limited budget, but just like some of the textures in the movie really look really, and I hate to use this old comparison, but like kind of like an old video game, like an old PS2 game or something like
Mhm.
that.
There's a lot of
Um,
PS3 textures in this movie. I noted because
yeah.
I didn't notice the first time because the first time I watched this was just on my TV. Not to bring up our Prey argument again, but this movie actually showed up in 4K for me,
Oh,
which
there you go.
was astounding. And I was like, "Oh, this is gorgeous." And then we started talking about it, and I rewatched it this time just on my computer because it's easier for me to focus when it's like right here.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh no, now I'm kind of seeing at least the textures." And
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that animation at all. Like Spider Verse is whatever. It's the best of it. But can we stop? Like, why does everything have to look like that?
I'm very much of two, or there. I have both a pro and con with this in that Spider Verse style. Where what I like about it is how stylized it is, and
Mhm.
it's just nice to get away from like the Disney Pixar uniform style that like every 3D animated movie was looking like for a while. And I'm
Yeah.
glad we've broken away from that and getting more stylized stuff like this. Especially on a cheaper budget. Like you don't have to be concerned with making everything look realistic. Like just make it heightened, over
Mhm.
stylize it. That's great. What I don't like that every Spider Verse imitator is doing is the low frame rate animation. Where I'm like, why is that the thing we have to keep doing? Because I'm not a huge fan of it. Like I'm used to it, but I could go for some more
Was
fluid, less janky movements.
you see, I don't know if this was doing a frame rate thing or it's just that's the cheapness of the animation. Because if there's one thing
That's
I
at least
will
how it looked to
give
me.
this is I think all the fight scenes are really fluid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
once the fighting kicks in, I think is when the animation's at its best.
well, you gotta have
Yeah.
those frame dips. It's not optimized for the hardware. Real quick, Tyler's in the chat. What section was your favorite? I think we could say that without spoiling anything. For me, it was the
Sure.
first one. I thought the first one was near perfect.
Okay, interesting. I loved all three of them. I'm not going to cop out and say that's my answer, but I think if I had to rank them, it would go the second one, the third one, and then at the bottom is the first one actually for me. But I
Really?
still really like the first one.
Wow.
I was way more invested in the stories of the other two. I thought that the first one was still really well executed and performed by the actors. I just was more um, and I also just like the action a lot more in the third one. But the action in the first one's still good. But yeah,
My favorite thing about the first one is the absurd size of the Predator in that one,
yeah,
where he's like a fucking Hulk,
yeah. He's like a Hulk predator.
but like
Um,
missing a hand. And I think that you can see anywhere. That's not a spoiler.
mhm.
Robert, what was yours?
My favorite is also the first one. I think it has the strongest story. I think it's the one that really gets to take its time the most, and the action's great. I'd say the third one's my least favorite, but like it's still good. I like all three, and the second one I think has great action, and I like the story of the second one. But that's the one where I'm like, oh, I wish this had more time to breathe.
For sure.
If
Yeah.
there's any segment, if there's any segment I think could have been longer, it's the second one. It's still really good.
Because
Mhm.
I think
But
my big
that's my opinion.
disappointment with the second one, and I'll leave this vague, of course, is it didn't feel like we really took advantage of the time period. Like, where's like the Ninja Predator? Like, he doesn't. It's just a predator. Like, it doesn't do anything time period appropriate. Where at least with the first one, you get the weird hand cannon thing and like some cleverness in how it's beaten.
Well, Tyler
And
agrees.
I really liked the protagonist story of
Mm.
the first one.
Yeah, she had a good story.
The third one
None
is
of the stories are
too.
bad.
The third one is too tied into the stuff that I don't like about this movie's third act because it's kind of
Okay.
a seamless transition. But
Mm.
well, I don't want to spoil it yet because
Well, in of all of every time period we get, the feudal Japan one is the one I hope we revisit again at some
yes,
point. Not with these characters, but that's something I'd like to see a whole movie on. It's
Yeah.
just Predator Japan fighting samurai. I'm in. Give me more of that, please.
yes. So real quick, I want to bring this up, but before I do that, I want to ask because we're about 15 minutes in. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about before we move into spoilers, just to make it easier for discussion?
Nothing comes to mind
Don't
for me.
everybody speak up all at once.
Yeah.
Okay, so last thing I want to say, because this can fit easily in this, voice acting around the board is fantastic. I didn't have any issues
Yeah.
anywhere. Um, and I forgot they got some names, like Michael Bean is in this.
Michael Bean. Yeah.
I don't remember who Vandy is, but he plays that character.
Yeah, that's in the third segment. I think he's
He's
Torres's
the
like mentor or like the guy in
yeah
charge.
the older
Uh,
guy. Yeah.
When he was talking at first, I was like, "Is that Michael Rooker? Who is that?" And then I was like, "It sounds like Michael Bean," and I was right. It is Michael Bean.
It is. He sounds really old right now.
And Torres is voiced by Wild Dog from Arrow.
That's true.
Yeah, that's a big name.
And we're in full spoilers now, right?
So from here on, we are going into full spoilers. Do we want to take this segment by segment, or do we want to talk about the big thing that I think Robert and I want to talk about?
I'd rather go segment by segment.
Okay.
Let's get to
Go
it.
back to the
Yeah.
first.
Okay.
But what I wanted to finish on my Michael Bean point, it's what's great about him being in this movie is he's now been killed by a Terminator, an
That
alien,
doesn't
kind
count.
of. Well, he's definitely killed by a Terminator, and now he's killed by a Predator. Good for him.
He wasn't really
I
killed
think
by
it does
a
count.
Predator. It was animated, and I think Colonial Marines retcons that.
Wait, John, I'm sorry. Did you say that this doesn't count because it's animated?
Yeah, he didn't actually get killed. He's just voicing a character that got killed.
John, come on.
Listen, Bill Paxton needs to keep the record, okay? He's the only
he can
person.
join Bill Paxton. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Also, he doesn't die from an alien, does he?
Well, that's the gray area. An alien's responsible for his death, but he dies in the.
Let us have this, John. Let Michael Bean have this.
Lance Henriksen's also in the running. Don't forget him.
It's a 3-people club.
Isn't he killed by an alien in both movies?
But
or is it a Predator?
Well, a Predator kills him in AVP.
Well, that's what I'm asking about. Is it a Predator? Because I don't remember.
Okay.
He's 2/3 of the way there.
Yeah.
Put him in Badlands.
Why not? Yeah. Just do it.
Okay. Anyway,
so back to the first segment.
Yes. Robert, tell us more about the first segment.
I love the Viking story. I love like the Valkyrie and her relationship with her son. It's one of the biggest reliefs from this is we talked about this during our Prey commentary, where somewhere in the marketing they were like, "This is the first Predator to ever come to Earth," and I'm like, "Don't say that. That's just shooting yourself in the foot. Like you're eliminating so many story possibilities." I'm glad that like the next movie in, we're like, just kidding.
Yeah. Never mind.
Predator
Dan
Vikings,
Trachtenberg was like, "Fuck you! Don't say that."
Yeah. Predator and Vikings, it's awesome. I liked this tale of revenge, the cycle of violence, and my favorite thing about this first segment is it's the one story that I actually didn't find predictable. The ending of this goes pretty differently from what I was expecting.
Okay.
So I thought that was cool.
So real quick, just because so Tyler says one of his main problems apart from the animation is there isn't much Predator in this Predator movie as I'd like. Did you have that problem, or is it just me? I did not. The Predator is a silent hunter, is a monster. It should always be in the background. Because like even
there's not
like the first movie, it's invisible for 2/3 of that movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I thought we got plenty of Predator. What's funny to me, what each segment had, it's like a Predator movie speed run, but in a good way. Where for whatever reason, these Predators are like, I could hunt these people one by one, like the other guys do. Fuck it, I'm just gonna jump in.
No, especially in this first one where that he just like crashes in, like surprise, motherfucker.
Yeah, I will say this first segment probably has the least Predator of the three. But I mean, once he's there, it's pretty awesome. I thought.
I think it's the third one, because we'll get into it. But the big problem I have with the third one is it's really aerial combat focused, and I don't care about that.
Yeah. I thought that was cool. I thought it was something different.
Yeah.
But we'll get to it.
What?
But Noah, did you feel the way I felt though, where it's like, we're like speed running through Predator movies, but like not in a bad way.
I had that feeling towards the end of the first one, where it's like, oh, so this is just going to be like a mini Predator movie for each one, and that's kind of what it is. No. I thought it was fine because I thought that they were still really well paced. Like you were saying, the story in this one has a lot of room to breathe. And it's very tragic too. Like I also wasn't able to expect where the story was going for the first one. Um, so yeah, but yeah, and then the predator like kind of smashes down in the middle of like a scene.
Yeah.
Actually, the whole time when I was watching it, I was waiting for like, oh, like she's really like waiting to get her revenge on this guy. Is the predator gonna take that away from her? Is that how we're gonna get
Mhm.
introduced to him? And then no, it was her son.
Mhm.
So I wasn't even able to like correctly predict that aspect of it.
Well, and the reason why I hope we get more of like these anthology movies or a full animated show is while this first segment, I think of the three probably had the most potential for a full feature, it would also get kind of dull, I think, after a while if we kept doing premises like this, but with 2 hours. Where Prey was a breath of fresh air, but if you keep making that movie over and over again, that's the slow burn, the predators showing up, the characters figuring out how that works. Like that could get old out a while after a while. So for now, I'm
Yeah,
actually glad to get like these truncated versions of
Well, and
that.
I'm okay with this because I don't think that's what Badlands is going to be.
Right.
But I did just
yeah.
think about this, which is funny, because this takes place, Vikings, a lot of snow. What was the number one thing people bitched about with AVP?
The snarl.
Predators don't hunt in the cold; they hunt in the heat.
Or if they do, they should have a big winter coat. But this
Yeah,
predator is like wearing nothing.
yeah. Like I don't care,
Doesn't even
and
have a
that just dawned on me. And I was like, oh, yeah,
Nope, nope. This movie sucks now. Dan Trachtenberg's a fraud.
yeah, he is.
Fire him.
Fuck you, Dan Trachtenberg. So the other thing that I liked about this segment more than any of them is it really is the essence of this franchise, which is man versus hunter. Because all the other ones, they have to be clever or team up. She just fights this fucking thing, and yeah, it is a little clever how she beats it, but it's still a one-on-one fight at the end.
Mhm.
At the end,
Yeah,
and I like that what beats it is its own weapon, just is like deflected by her shield. That's what kills it. I thought that
yeah.
was really cool.
That was
I,
cool.
I think I think this is the best example of that, but that does happen in all three segments and happen in Prey. So immediately it's like, oh, this is like a Dan Trachtenberg staple, where in every single one of his stories we defeat the predator using their own weapons against them. I find that interesting.
Hmm.
Could get
There's a
formulaic
couple other
after a
things
while.
that I think are starting to become Trachtenberg staples, but we'll
Yeah.
get to it.
But this first one though, and again, it's done without any dialogue. It's just and how we pair him up with her with the shield is really cool. And the way she just figures out through watching and fighting this thing how that weapon, that like propulsive thing he's using, works, and how she uses it against him to get him to kill himself, and it also launches her out of the water. It's like it's so well storyboarded, so good.
The reason that I say this
Yeah.
one more than the others is because yes, that is a common byline, but like in the second one, it's a 2-on-1. The third one, it's mostly airplane dogfighting. This is just them fighting somewhere, like no backup, no support, just her and her weapons and her brains. That's it.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, and where I assumed, I also really liked the flash. I'm with you guys where I'm very hit or miss on the animation. I thought the way we animated fire in this was really cool because it's very
Yeah,
2D
it's just
and
2D.
simple,
Yeah.
but it looks like a stylistic choice.
yeah.
So
It's
I like that in theory, but in practice, it does look a bit weird. I think that's just because of how like cheap some of the
mhm.
other aspects of this movie looks. But I like the idea.
And the flashback with her father's death, I thought was like the best. Aside from the action, I thought that was like the best looking scene of the
Yeah.
movie. I thought the color in that one really popped.
Hmm.
And it was like, oh fuck, this is dark.
Oh shit, dude, this is scary.
Vikings, why are you so mean?
Vikings.
Who would have
And that's the
known?
other thing I wanted to mention about this one, because this, is very much This is kind of the ultimate Predator movie to do the formula that I like to see in Predator movies, where it's starts out as one thing, and then a Predator shows up. And I think you're right, Robert, that kind of structure might get a little boring if we keep doing it over and over again. But that is my
As full
favorite.
features.
Yeah,
The
as
only
full
thing,
features. But that's
the
my
only,
favorite thing to see in this franchise.
yeah, I mean, because that is what this franchise is. The only reason that I would disagree is we don't do it often enough. That the reason that Prey was so good is because we hadn't done that since the
Right.
second one.
Well, we do it. When you look at the franchise as a whole, I think we do it often. It's just we got away from it for a while, and
Okay,
then
but
Prey
think of
brought
it
it
in
back.
terms of how many movies there are, Noah.
Yeah,
Before Prey comes out, there are 4 movies. Because Prey is the fifth one.
yeah,
Out of those 4, only 2 of them do that. That's
yeah.
a
No, true.
50% ratio. That's an F.
That's true. You also gotta take into account like there's a big gap between each movies too. So there's
Well,
that.
mostly between 2
No,
and 3.
the Predator is just a movie about autism, and then a predator shows
No,
up.
I mean that's
It
true.
fits the formula.
Yeah.
You're
Oh
right.
yeah.
I'm
Don't
sorry.
forget about that
That's why
intro
Noah.
scene with
That's
the
why it's Noah's
predator
favorite.
crashing. I love that movie. It was well
Uh,
documented.
all right. Anything else
But
we want to talk about with Predator versus the Vikings?
I did just want to say that I'm surprised it took us this long to do something with Predators and Vikings, because I feel like that's kind of a no-brainer. Like Vikings are like, the old kind of like
You would think,
historically warrior culture, just like
but
Predators are. But
I to go back to the Predator for a second. We got the Predator autism movie before the Predator versus Vikings movie.
Viking movie, yeah,
That is the world we live in.
that's strange.
Okay, I'm gonna ask this again when we're done with the review to close out on like what we'd like to see more of like from these types of stories. I just want to mention this before I forget. Predator versus a gladiator
Yeah,
in a Coliseum. It's right there.
Well,
it is.
we'll get to the ending.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
But what really surprised me about this story was where I thought it was going was okay, she's gonna die fighting the predator, and then her son's gonna kill the predator and avenge her. Like, okay, that seemed like where it was going, and then nope, she wins, and then her son dies, and I was like, oh, I mean,
Well,
it's a downer, but
And then you see her on a spaceship, and I'm like,
you do, and I have questions.
what are we doing here?
yeah.
But we'll put a pin in that and go to
So
the
then we
second
jump
one.
to 1609 feudal Japan, which is going in was the segment I was most excited for. 'Cause I feel like this is the one it's like Assassin's Creed. This is the one everybody's been asking for. And how funny is it that the same year Assassin's Creed finally does this and the Predator is doing it? And I was
Yeah,
like, what's Assassin's Creed?
I don't even know what an Assassin's Creed is.
It's this thing called a video game. You put it in a plastic
Oh,
box and it makes pretty pictures.
oh, like a
Sometimes.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for if it's too movie-like, then it gets called a walking simulator, and
Right,
it's a
right,
whole
right,
thing.
right.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
I've
so
seen people
this
talk about
this is about 2 brothers, Kinji. And I'm gonna mispronounce this, Kiyoshi, I think. The Kyoshi Warriors. The two
it. Yeah,
sons of a samurai warlord, and like they end up going their own separate ways. One of them becomes a shinobi, the other a lord, and then the shinobi sneaks in to kill his brother. And oops, I brought a predator home. Like,
oops, a predator shows up.
the coolest thing about this bit is there's that scene where the Lord is like pauses for a second and the that painting moves and then
Yeah,
the
Yeah,
predator comes out
yeah.
of it. It was
And you're
awesome.
like, oh shit.
And then we get Predator versus a shinobi and a samurai lord, and it's awesome.
I loved it. Yeah,
And two
I loved it.
brothers.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to say two brothers. No,
Gotta put
this was
aside our
my
differences.
this was my favorite one. I
Yeah,
really like the
I like
story
the
of the two
setup.
brothers.
Yeah,
I like how it wraps up. I like the ending. Um, I love the fight choreography when it's the two of them taking on the predator at the end. Yeah, I love this one.
It's really cool. I wish it had done more with the Predator having to use like shinobi weapons or uh, as much as what we
you got
have here is
more like
really
birds and
cool.
stuff.
But yeah, like take more advantage of this time period. Like have the Predator do stuff. And I think that that is the biggest victim of this anthology format is you don't have time to do a lot of that stuff. Because like how cool would it be if you had a Predator? Because like you know how in Prey it has like cross bolts and things that
Mhm.
are that fit in with the time period for a hunt.
Yeah,
How cool would it be if this thing picked up human weapons to blend in a hunt? Like
yeah,
a
that could have been
Predator.
cool. I think the thing with this is it's so focused because of it's an anthology. It's so focused on the action, which I think is the main thing it succeeds at.
Yes.
Where it's like each segment is just a big extended action scene.
Well, and like we keep saying, the choreography is so good. There's so many bits I'm gonna forget to mention that are clever. Where you do get the part where the predator throws like that spear rifle gun into the guy, and then it like splits open and
Yeah.
bisects him, and then it later shoots that at the brother who ducks, and then the other brother pushes him out of the way because he knows that thing's gonna open. There's just so much good visual storytelling of these characters paying attention and learning how these weapons work and how to fight against them. That's one of the main through lines that's really clever. And also should be mentioned, fun fact. So there's one voice actor who voices both brothers, and the John. I guess you. I assume you would have mentioned by now if you knew this. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, but the guy who voices the brothers is the guy who played the Yakuza dude in Predators.
Oh,
We actually
okay.
got a Predator alumni.
I
Uh,
didn't pull up his Wikipedia page, so I didn't see that. But that's awesome.
yeah, when I clicked on his name, the first thing it said was Predators, and I was like, that's the wrong
Okay.
movie.
Hold on. I think it goes even further than that. So I pulled up his full Wikipedia page. The brothers' names are Kinji and Kiyoshi Kamakami. His character's name in Predators is Hanzo Kamakami.
Oh shit,
I
the
think he's playing the ancestors of his character from Predators.
could very well be.
Could be good. Well, we know Dan
Or
Trachtenberg. He
somebody
likes
was
his
like
weird lore
or
connections.
somebody in the writings was like, what's a name that sounds kind of Asian? Kamikami, there you go.
Oh, we already used that name? Oh shit.
Well, it's connected now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we meant to do.
I didn't know
Um
Predators had a animated film.
I did
Yeah,
not know
I've
that
never
either.
seen that. I don't
I
know
don't.
how available that is. I always forget that thing exists.
Yeah, because he plays the same character from Predators in the.
Yeah, it might be like a short. Like I don't think it's full.
Yeah, I'd have to look at this, but I found something on YouTube. It's like 9 minutes. Oh
Yeah.
God, this looks like shit.
Watch party.
Well,
Doing a watch party after.
Oh,
it's
it's a
probably no
motion
spoiler.
comic. Okay.
Oh, okay. So it's a
Okay.
motion comic of the
Well,
comic
because
book tie-in.
Wikipedia just says animated short film. So I was like, oh,
Yeah.
why? This is animated, and I don't think the art looks great. But anyway,
Anyway,
that is cool if that's a connection because I think Predators is pretty good. Uh, and
I
I'm
think
glad.
that guy gets one of the best fights in the movie. The
Yeah.
one-on-one him with the katana. Uh, Also, this short is called The Sword. It's called a katana, Dan Trachtenberg. Read a book.
This is my katana.
well,
She's got my back.
what does katana mean? It means Japanese sword. So, there you go.
Do you even speak Japanese, rapper?
Do you even speak Japanese? Come on, dude.
Anything else we want to say about this?
No, I
Yeah,
think
it was good.
I've praised it enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like the story here. It's just the one that I thought I could have spent more time with.
Oh, so that is
For
something I
sure.
wanted to ask because we did mention, I also would have liked to see this one be longer. I didn't clock it, and so I don't know if it is pacing, but did this feel shorter than the Viking one?
It definitely
I think
felt
this might.
shorter. I don't know if it is or not.
I'm not sure, but from memory, I think this might be the shortest of the three. I think this is the most focused one. Um, the other two are a bit longer. And then I think the climax also goes on for a bit.
Yeah,
And
just a bit.
Tyler, I see your question. We'll get to that in a minute. Because since we're in spoilers, what this movie really is it's marketed as three shorts, but it's actually four. You know, we keep referring to it as the third act, but it's really a fourth short that
Yeah.
ties everything
Yeah,
together, and it's probably our least favorite
Actually,
of them.
be, well, we'll talk about
it's
it.
Noah's
But
favorite.
Yeah.
when I because I don't know if you guys have Hulu with ads, I do. But when I watched
Yep.
this on Hulu, it was like I saw where the ad breaks were, and I was like, oh, it's probably like structured so it's in between each one. And I was like, oh no, wait, there's a fourth one. What? I thought there was only three.
I also thought there was three because I didn't even watch any trailers for this. I was like, I'm gonna watch it. It's free on Hulu. I like Predator. So I went into this blind. I didn't even know like what the order of stories was gonna be or anything. So when we get to I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but when we get to Torres on the ship, I was like, oh no, what's happening? What what are we
Oh
doing?
yeah, when it's hinted at in between each one, and
Yeah.
I was like, uh oh, what are you doing here?
Okay, so let me since we're on this topic, because I don't want to forget to ask. Did that stuff feel like a tie-in to Badlands to you?
I don't know.
Just
I
from
think we
what
should
little
say
I know
that.
about the Badlands premise. Oh,
I'd be
sorry, Noah.
surprised if there's. I'd be surprised if there's a strong connection. But Noah, what are your thoughts?
I mean, just based on what we've seen from the Badlands trailer, there's nothing in the third act that I can immediately say, oh yeah, that looks like that's gonna be um, continued in Badlands. But we'll get to it when we talk about it.
So then we'll talk about that at the end. Um, so then we jump to World War II, and this is a setting that I've wanted for a while. Again, not just in this, but in Assassin's Creed as well. And we finally get it in one. And I don't hate this by any means. It is good, but this isn't what I like about the Predator. And I
For
don't
sure.
care about like the air combat. I really wish this was the Predator, like in the trenches hunting World War II soldiers.
I think it still translates well. Like he's still very much a hunter in this, but it's in the skies, and you do see like the heat seeking
Hmm.
vision does play a big part in this one when they end up like turning their engines off so they can mask themselves. But when the trailer for this movie first came out and it showed footage from this, I was like, all right, this is the one I'm looking forward to the least, actually, just because I'm kind of with you in theory, John. I prefer just seeing the Predator like in person in the trenches hunting people. Um, but watching the movie, it actually ended up working for me. And I think also just because I like that kind of aerial dogfighting kind of combat in movies anyway. So it's like, yeah, okay, it actually won me over.
Yeah, I mean this is still good. This just isn't what I wanted. So I think by
Yeah, for
default
sure,
it's my least favorite of the three, or
for sure.
of the three, because I'm not gonna count the fourth one
Yeah,
as.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's my least favorite too, but I did enjoy it. I just liked it. I did like it for the variety, for something different for me. Like, oh, like aerial combat focus is something we haven't done before. That's cool. You know, predators have ships. I'm cool with this every once in a while, but I think those first two segments I can see like the full 2 hour movie version of. This more than any, I'm like, no, this works as a short. Like, I don't need a longer version of this. This works totally fine as a half-hour
Yeah.
story. Um, and I liked it. I like the characters. Michael Bean's cool.
Yeah.
I like
I,
Torres. And like you were talking about, Noah, about how he figures out like how the heat works with the technology and how he learns how to fight him. I thought there was some fun aerial combat in this, so
mhm.
I thought it was solid.
Yeah, I thought the characters were. I thought Torres was really likable protagonist in this. I think I like all the characters in each one, but you know, and this one also has Michael Bean, which we talked about before. He's the first, or he's the second actor to be killed by an alien, a predator, and a Terminator.
No,
Let's not take that away from him.
taking it away, it doesn't count. No, I'm just kidding. I don't care that much. So speaking of an alien, I just want to jump off of a bandwagon here for a second, because I was thinking about this while watching it. Can we get this for Alien?
Yes, I would love this for Alien, or some sort of animated
It
anthology
it
film.
doesn't have
It
to
doesn't
follow
have to
this
be.
format because this works for a Predator because the Predator is all about taking this monster and putting it in other stories. But something like this for Alien, like, can we can we do
I
something with
also
that?
I also want something like Alien versus Predator animated.
Yes.
I've been saying for years, like Alien versus Predator isn't something I need again in live action.
Oh, I
This
need
is,
it.
I think, a good proof of concept for doing that animated because it gives you so much more freedom with the choreography and the action. Like
The
the
only
action in
thing
this is so good. I'm like, oh, I want that with Aliens.
I want that. My only issue is because I know it would look like this. That's not what I want that material to look like. And I know they'll never do it because AVP is too much money sitting on the table to do an animated.
Mhm.
You could do like some shorts, but yeah, I would love to see another live action AVP movie.
But like,
Good this
imagine all
time.
the weird body horror you could do with an alien animated.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think you could do it in an anthology for Alien. Again, like not exactly in the structure, but just like different stories in that universe with the
That's how you
xenomorphs
bring
and
back
stuff.
Ripley. Weaver could still voice it.
Yeah, yeah.
Hell, this is
Um,
how you bring back Arnold, right? Like, he could just do the voice.
Yeah,
oh,
that's
We keep wanting to do
definitely
that.
yeah.
well, that's definitely on Dan Trachtenberg's mind. I don't know if that'll happen, but
Yeah. Yeah, we'll
Uh,
see.
all right. So
now
my
we know
side
how they
tangent.
bring back Arnold.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we do.
I'm
Should we
interested to
just get
talk
into it?
about that. Well, real quick, is there anything else that you guys want to talk about with the third act, or the third story, before we move into the segue into the fourth and what the fourth one means for all this?
Let's jump in.
I'm good.
Okay, so because I really wish Austin was here because he would know
I
this.
know.
I don't know if this is from the comics, but just as someone who's only seen the movies, this feels really retconny, where all of a sudden everyone that beats them is frozen. Because that didn't happen to Danny Glover in 2.
Well, and I don't know if it's everyone, if the implication is that it's everyone that beats a predator is taken.
I
Yeah,
wouldn't
so
have
but
had that except they
yeah,
show what's her name from
they show
Prey,
Naru at the end. Yeah.
which that was the big like, oh no,
Can I tell you
because
guys what I thought was going to happen though? Because they were building it up, and part of me was like, is it going to be Dutch in one of those things? And
for
then
a
it was
second
Naru.
there I thought so too. And
Yeah.
it's funny too because when they did show Naru, for like a second I was like, who is that? Oh, like it dawned on me.
Yeah.
So, because I asked you guys if you thought maybe this was going to lead into Badlands, because now I wonder if this means that Naru is going to be in Badlands.
I think there's a chance if she doesn't show up in Badlands, she could show up in something else in the future. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Who knows
What
really what they're gonna
what
do
is it
with
with
Badlands?
Trachtenberg in making like an amazing film and then just at the last frame of the film is like, here's this thing that's really stupid.
I So I don't think I'm as negative on it as certainly John is. I don't know what Robert fully thinks of this, but I thought that the post-credit scene in this actually made the post-credit scene of Prey a little bit better, just
Mhm.
because it's more of a I see what they're doing now.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what the end game of this is, but I'm also just I think part of it is I'm just glad that the Predators didn't just like rain down on her tribe again. They just kidnapped her.
I mean, for all
So
I know, they might have killed everyone else and just taken her, but
who knows? Who really knows? This is all the information we have to work with right
also,
now.
Yeah.
okay, so just while we're still on the topic of Naru, what is it with Dan Trachtenberg and that stupid fucking pistol?
Yeah, I wanted to get to
It's
that where I'm
back.
like, oh god, I don't know what we're doing with that pistol. I don't know why it keeps showing up in all these weird places. I don't know how Predator 2 fits in. Uh,
So far it's went from like Native American times to World War II to
so
1990s Los Angeles.
So, but all right. So what I
If it's
feel
in
like,
Badlands, I'm gonna throw a fit.
it probably will be. He
well,
loves that fucking gun.
I don't. So I don't know. Like I keep saying, none of us know what this is going to build
Of
to. I have
course.
a feeling what it seems like is going to happen is, and I hope this doesn't happen, but we get like some sort of gladiatorial match or some sort of crossover with Naru, Dutch, and I don't know, maybe Danny Glover or some of the other protagonists from the other movies. Um, who knows? I
I
don't think, but just to say, I don't think that
sorry.
that's going to happen in Badlands.
No, so but I did have this thought. I forget if it was Dan Trachtenberg or Fede Alvarez that wanted to do an AVP with both of them. What if that's all AVP set up? And that is the big crossover. Dutch, Naru, Danny Glover if he'll come back,
Ripley.
Ripley.
Yeah, I
That
don't
would
know.
be insane, but I'd give it a chance.
I'd watch it, but I don't know. It just and part of the problem is because this has never been touched on in 5 films before this. And in this movie, it is established that everyone that has survived a Predator movie, in Trachtenberg's continuity anyway, has been kidnapped and frozen by predators. Does that mean just them? Is Dutch in there somewhere? Is Danny Glover's character? Is Adrian Brody from the third movie in there?
That man better be there, or else what's the point?
I just hope we see the Predator cast come back because that's my favorite movie of the franchise.
I
But
do.
that's just me.
Okay, remind me.
That's the
Does
one I
Thomas
ignore.
Jane die in that movie?
Yeah, Thomas Jane
Thomas Jane dies.
And Keegan Michael Key
They
die.
need to retcon that and just have Thomas Jane in one of those pods, and they just open it and kill him because he won't shut the fuck up.
Yeah, so yeah, we're jumping around a lot, but back to I'm with you, John. I don't love the way this recontextualizes the franchise and Predator lore. Where if you kill a predator, then other predators show up and abduct you.
Kidnap you.
To answer to answer Tyler's question of do they ever show how they get on the ship? We do at the end of the Torres one, where we see a ship show up and that's where
Yeah,
he's abducted. Um,
yeah.
but which earlier before we got to that stuff, when we were just teasing it, seeing all the people on the ship, I was like, are we doing time travel? Where is this going? Why are all these people on a ship together?
It took me an embarrassingly long time to think of cryogenically freezing them,
Me too.
because when he gets on the ship and meets Viking Lady and Samurai, I was like, what? How are they still alive? Like, what is happening?
But then my question is like, why now? Like, why are they wait? How long do they need to stay in the cryo
Right.
freezing to get woken up for this gladiator? Yeah,
There's
gladiator match.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah.
there's like a 1,000 years between two of these people here.
Well,
I have
and
so many questions.
Yeah, because okay,
Yeah.
because even if you have to wait for 3 people or whatever arbitrary number, you'd have Viking lady, samurai guy, and then Naru. You already have your
Yeah.
3. Why do you need Torres?
It's very arbitrary. Yeah.
And so okay, if I understand this correctly, then they gather the 3 of them, and the idea is them all 3 of them fight to the death for the honor of facing the killer of killers, the big predator guy.
Yeah,
Why? What do they get out of it?
because it's fun.
Because it's fun, Jan.
It did remind me of Predators, like that premise of taking a bunch of killers and putting them on a planet to hunt, which I've always thought was fun. This is like a weirdly more convoluted version of that.
Yeah, because they're not even killers.
Yeah.
They're just, or like they're not killers in the sense of like illegally or immorally killing people. Like
They're
that was just
honorable
their
killers.
culture.
They're warriors.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, so you kidnap these people and put Suicide Squad neck collars on them. What is their
Yeah.
incentive to go along with this? What do they get out of it? You can't return them
Survival?
to their time.
Uh,
You're not time traveling.
the
Mhm.
pleasure of killing the killer of killers. I don't know.
Well, and the final segment I think is in the future because Torres is frozen. So
Yeah.
Which again makes me wonder: are these people going to be in Badlands?
I think this is just my prediction. We'll see if I'm right or wrong. My prediction is there will be some Easter eggs and
Yeah,
references where if you watch Killer of the Killers, you'll spot some things. I don't think any of these characters will show up in
I think the most
Badlands,
likely is Naru,
Yeah.
just because people will remember her from Prey.
right? But I think that would be more likely if Badlands was another Hulu movie. Then I'd be more certain. But because it is theatrical, and they're treating
Yeah,
it as it's kind of its own thing. I'd be shocked if they're approaching that of like you better watch those Hulu movies or else you're gonna be completely lost.
um,
um,
you know what the
that's what I think.
funniest thing about this is though? So they've recontextualized the entire franchise at this point. Whether you agree with me or not, it's whatever. But in my opinion, it recontextualizes the entire thing. So you go through hell, you outmaneuver this alien. Also, none of the predators in this movie, I just thought of this, do the self-destruct thing,
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
which
No.
was weird. But anyway, so you go through all this, you beat this monster that has impossibly advanced technology, and your reward is being kidnapped and frozen.
right. And I have questions of like, how do the other predators even like know who killed these predators? Like, are they spying on Earth? Like, do they have drones? Are they televising these matches? Like, how do they even know who the people are that killed them? I have so
Yeah,
many questions.
we need Austin.
Yeah. He probably hasn't even seen the movie yet.
I know. He was like the first one I wanted to talk to. He's like, I have
Yeah,
questions.
like Torres is a perfect example where Torres, like, we have the big dogfight, and he like tricks the ship into shooting itself, and then it's bombed and blows up, and then some amount of time later, Torres is just hanging out at his home or whatever, and he's abducted by predators. How do they even know that he was the guy who was responsible?
Maybe it's because they were
The ship blew up.
initially. I was gonna say because they were initially sent out to hunt, but they weren't initially sent out to hunt tourists specifically, so that doesn't
Right.
work. Yeah.
Well, and that also, I think, in a way, kind of ruins the Predator's code. Like, oh, you won this fight, but now we're gonna kidnap you and make you fight more.
Yeah. And again, to your earlier point, the ending of Predator 2 is weird now. Why do they give
Yeah.
Danny Glover the gun and let him leave? You have him. Just tie him up. Like you have there. It's like 3-on-1.
Because
Just
now it
grab
gets
him.
even funnier. So they give him the gun and let him go, and then they show up later and are like, "Just kidding,
And
we're
get the gun back.
we're taking you with
Oh
us."
my god, this is gonna break my brain thinking of the continuity of these movies.
Yeah,
Because
I
part of me
don't
was
know
like,
what I'm supposed to take away from that fourth story.
Because part of me was like, oh yeah, so Predator 2 is obviously set after this and Prey, but it's like, oh no, but the ending of this is in the future. It's like, what? What's happening?
Well, Predator 2 was in the far-flung future of
Yeah.
1997, to be fair.
True.
Um,
Yes.
But okay, so this two things. One, I'm gonna kind of contradict myself earlier because John was like, "Oh, it's animated; it doesn't count," and Noah really fought back on that. Because it's animated, some of these choices maybe aren't bothering me as much as they would bother me if this was live action. Where when I said earlier, oh, this felt like reading a tie-in comic or something, I'm like, for some reason, I'm more open to goofy, out there ideas like this in something animated. So, like, I'm not mad about these choices. I just have questions.
I'm more confused than I kind of have a wait and see attitude with all of this because all of this is like kind of setting up stuff that's going to happen in the future. I don't know if it's going to be in Badlands.
Yeah,
Like I
like
said,
I think I sound more frustrated than I am. Overall I really
Yeah.
did like this movie.
Yeah.
I will revisit my opinion on it when Badlands comes out because I think Badlands needs to explain some of this, or they need to acknowledge this doesn't matter. It's just an anthology movie for Hulu. Like, we're not gonna do anything with this because
But
if
now
this is
it's not
supposed to
even a true
matter,
anthology.
yeah, it's not a true anthology, which nobody on Letterboxd I follow is talking about, which I thought was interesting. And B, if this does count, now you've retroactively not only made the end of Predator 2 make no sense, you've retconned the other movies to be the most depressing movies of like ever because the guy wins and then his reward is being frozen for the rest of eternity until they decide they want him to fight in this arena.
I think where I'm more open to this idea, which is something you have to explain later, is one thing we do know from this franchise is that there are many Predator factions, right? And there's a lot of infighting. Predators was
Yes.
all about that.
Yeah.
So if the idea is it's this specific tribe of predators that have been like freezing people and are doing this, but other predators aren't cool with that, then I think I'm more open to this concept. But you have to make that
Okay.
clear later.
Actually, so now that you bring that up, I think if there was any future project to clear anything like that up, it would be Badlands, because that movie is going to be solely focused on the Predator as a main character, it seems.
Yeah.
At least from what the
Going
trailers are
up
showing.
against other predators is what it
Yeah.
looks like.
I'm
Yeah.
glad that you brought that up because I forgot about the different factions.
Mhm.
That could make sense. But I need this movie to be able to mark them in some way so that I know what is happening. Because the way that he designs the predators, I cannot tell if they're all from the same clan, if they're different clans. Like,
It's
Yeah.
also hard to tell because it's animated and they're hyper stylized, so it's hard to tell.
yeah.
Like, wait, is this a style like the giant one in the Viking? I
Is
can't
the
tell. Is this
giant one
just
supposed to be like a super predator, like the Shane Black movie?
or is that just fun for animation? I can't tell. I don't know.
Yeah. Because
um,
that's one thing I hate about Spider-Verse is I think all the villain designs suck. Like, Kingpin looks absurd in that movie. Um, and Green Goblin, ugh. I don't know what they were
yeah.
thinking with
Oh,
that
he's
one.
Oh.
barely in it.
But yeah, this is a really good movie until it doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense.
Well, in that final,
I was gonna say, like, it probably sounds like we hate the third act of this movie. No, we just have a lot of questions, I think.
okay. Tyler said it could be a change in code. Like they realize after this point that they should no longer do it because they have earned the right to live. But that's still that still affects all the prior movies, and B, like one of the people they have frozen is a fucking Viking. They've been doing this for thousands of years.
Yeah. Also, why would they change their code? Like, it's not just a code, that's their way of life. You can't just decide, oh, they changed it, and not have a story about them deciding to change it.
Mhm. Yeah, well, it all goes back to that ending of Predator 2, where I love that ending, where they're like, oh, you killed him. Respect. Here's a trophy. Fuck off. We're leaving. I need something in canon to tell me, like, that those Predators at the end of Predator 2 aren't cool with what these Predators are doing. Then I think this makes a
Yeah.
little more sense.
Or like, I know it's not canon, and you guys are gonna laugh at me for bringing this up, but like in Alien versus Predator, the Predator befriends the human and like they team
Yeah.
up. I don't
Mhm.
buy these Predators doing that.
Yeah, and to be fair, when you get to the end of this movie, when they are brought out in the arena, I think the idea is to the predators, like this isn't torture. Like, they're all lined up, they're bowing when
Yeah.
they're so from their point of view, it's like, oh no, this is awesome. This is like a great honor. You were
No,
chosen.
I think from their point of view, they think, yeah, it's an honorable battle
Mm.
to have, and to have the chance to go up against the killer of killers is something to be
I want
proud
to
of.
see that
But
fucking head
thing in
Predator
live
in
action.
something. I
No,
want to see that
dude,
in live action. It
with
looks
with the
awesome.
with the xenomorph
Cape.
tails cape.
Yeah.
Yes. No, they keep building little things.
Yeah.
Because isn't there something in Romulus that's like a Predator reference?
I don't
I don't
remember.
remember. I don't know. I just know in the Badlands trailer there's a few alien
Or
Easter
maybe it's
eggs.
in
Mm.
Badlands. I almost
Yeah.
googled alien rhombus because we just call it that. It's like
Rhombus.
that's not gonna give me anything.
Yeah, because I think
Time.
Badlands has a robot character who's Weyland Yutani.
Yeah, you
Okay.
see the logo
So
in
maybe
her
that's what you're
eyes
thinking of.
for a second. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but if the idea is that this predator, the killer of killers, the one with the xenomorph tail cape, if the idea is that this predator in charge of this clan, like this is what they've been doing for I guess thousands of years, but other predators in other areas aren't cool with it, then I'm more on board with this concept.
Yes.
Right.
Then that makes more sense to me.
Right. So, like I
Uh
said before, I just have a wait and see attitude with it.
and that and I guess my only complaint with that is because I do like, an ongoing continuity that leaves me with questions. I need a clue. Can I have a clue? Like what's happening?
Well, in the final tease with Naru, uh, I'm glad we did a whole review for this because boy, did we have a lot to talk about.
No.
But with Naru, it's like okay, either that's leading to another animated film where they'll probably get Amber Midthunder back to do the voice, or that'll be a live action movie that possibly hasn't been announced yet. That's a coin toss for me right now.
Yeah.
It could go either way. I definitely think we're gonna pay that off, but
One
in what
one
project
thing
and
that
when,
I
I don't
I
know.
will give them kudos for that is the concept of them keeping all these people. There's animated anthology films for like the rest of time there.
Mhm.
Wouldn't it be
And
insane if Naru becomes like the face of the Hulu Predator stuff? That'd be
and
insane.
And to Noah's point earlier, I'm more on board with bringing her back this way than just doing a Prey 2 where she just fights
Yeah.
another predator and
I don't want to
her
pray too.
homeland. It's like which is where we thought we were going, and then so like this is the more depressing outcome, but it's also more interesting. So
Yeah.
the idea of seeing her in a completely new environment could be cool. Um, we just don't know yet what the
We
plan
don't know.
is.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting too? I just thought about this. In a way, because the way they've done this, she's kind of a parallel to Ripley, where Ripley is constantly just like frozen and then wakes up and then undisclosed amount of time later and has to deal with these fucking creatures again. Can
Mhm.
we just make her like the Predator's Ripley? That would be amazing.
Does she have her dog with her? Is her dog frozen?
I
Is he
hope
in his own
so.
pod?
That's her Mr. Jones.
Yeah.
Jonesy.
Tyler, do you think we'll get another animated film? This movie came out 2 days ago. They don't release numbers. It's hard to
Yeah.
say. The
I
only
hope
thing
so.
the only thing I can attest to is that this is extremely popular on Letterboxd. People are liking it. Um, so if
Yeah.
it does well,
And I think part of what's frustrating about that final segment is you devote all this time to it, and then it still ends on a cliffhanger.
yeah,
So it's like we don't even if you have to have that through line, of these people get frozen and are thrown into the arena, and we're gonna finish the story later. How I would have approached it is just end the film on them all waking up and stepping into the arena together, like, oh fuck, this is what's going on, and then just make that its own movie. Because with the climax, I thought this is kind of fun, and I like the language barrier idea that these three people can't
Except
communicate with
that
each other.
Viking lady is a psychopath.
Yeah, which is great. So that fight I thought was fun, but I also thought really rushed.
Yeah.
And at the story beats of like her like my boys escaped, fuck you, and I'm like, oh, this is great on paper. I just thought it really rushed, and I'm like,
Well, and I don't know if you had this thought. That is the part that feels the most like Disney to me, because they did the same thing to What If, where What If had to
I
have
was
a
gonna,
through
yeah,
line.
I was gonna
Goosebumps
bring up
is
that
not allowed to be
comparison.
an anthology. Like,
yep.
did Trachtenberg pitch this? Like, I just want to do like 4 Predator stories as a movie. And, like, you can do 3, and then they all have to come together at the end.
Yeah.
And that's why like the fourth story doesn't make any sense. He's like, okay,
No, I
whatever.
was gonna bring that up earlier and I forgot, but yeah, when you got the teases for all of them together on the spaceship, part of in the middle of the movie, part of me was like, oh, so this is What If. This
Yeah,
is what we're doing here. That's kind
but
of
but
disappointing.
better than What If.
It is better, but it's
That's
disappointing.
that's where I'm so of two minds of it. It's we don't have a finished story. Like we don't know where we're going with Naru yet. So just looking at the film as is, I am in the camp of yeah, I do wish these were all just completely standalone, and we
You
didn't have to
just done a
connect to
fourth
them.
story in the time that you did that connectivity.
Yeah, and back to Tyler's question, I think we will get another animated film. The question is it another anthology like this where it's a bunch of stories and then come together at the end, or do we just pick up where this movie leaves off with these
If
characters,
this is
which
just an
for me would be
excuse to
kind of a
do
bummer.
Prey 2, that would be insane.
I I'm nervous we're not gonna get more standalone stories like this. Like, give me Gladiator, Predator, give me I want like Predator in the Middle Ages. I want you
Predator
could
in
do
the
like a
West.
the old West,
I will
Predator on a
only
pirate
accept
ship.
Wild West Predator if at some point he wears a cowboy hat.
Of
Yes.
course.
I need that.
That's all I ever
Uh,
wanted.
you,
Yeah,
you
and
could
just
do like an
Disney,
African tribe.
just let him make a true anthology film. The worst
Mhm.
part of this movie is when you try to connect all of it.
Yeah, and there's enough fun stuff when they do connect that I could be sold on. It's just it's unfinished. it's
Yeah.
you need a whole movie dedicated to that, and I don't know yet if I want that movie or not. Very torn
Yeah.
on that ending. But like you guys
So,
said with Naru, like this is at least more interesting than just Prey 2.
right.
Um, so I'm open to it.
Well, it probably sounds like we hated this movie, but we really didn't.
So,
Yeah.
we're gonna get into our ratings because this is a full review. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about before we just move into ratings?
I think I've said everything.
Yeah. It's funny because like obviously I had things to say about the stories, but the main thing I just wanted to talk about was that third act because I didn't know what the fuck
I
was
know.
happening.
You and Robert were so excited. I'm like, come on, guys, we gotta talk about the other stuff first.
Well, because that's like I don't want to sound discouraging to the first half because the first or the first like 3 stories, that's so easy to
Yeah.
talk about. It's good, it's solid, it's what we wanted. It's that fourth story that is insane. Like, whoa.
It's like,
Um.
we got a lot of
All right, so
questions.
are we taking bets on if the pistol shows up in Badlands too? Like, is that just going to show up in every
I just
one of
think
his
it's
Predator
given.
movies?
I think
Yeah.
it's extremely likely it shows up in Badlands.
So I will
I
say,
want to.
even though that made me go, what? It was really funny when they just handed him that pistol and he's like, "This is what you want me to use."
It's not even from my century.
Here, all weapons from your tribe. But that's and again, it's there's a lot of stuff that happens in this that I think I'm just more forgiving of because it's animated, where you can be goofier. But that last story definitely pushes it the furthest. Where I'm like, you need a lot. Like, Torres learns how to pilot predator ships real easy, fast. There's a
That
lot of
was some
choices there where I'm like,
Disney
this
Star
is
Wars shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Noah, what is your ranking, or what is your rating for
My
Predator
rating.
Killer of Killers? I almost said Badlands. That hasn't come out yet.
Not yet. Yeah, so I'm gonna give this 4 out of 5. I really dug it. I think, despite all of our problems with it, it's really up there for me as one of my favorite movies of the franchise.
I'm sure you're gonna say
Just
favorite
purely,
movies of all time. I was like, whoa.
uh, yeah, of all time. I love Killers. No, just of the franchise as a whole. I think the action is a big highlight of it. It's really well animated in that regard. I really I found the characters very likable and compelling, and yeah, it's just a great time. As I think some of my favorite action moments of the Predator franchise. So yeah, I really liked it.
There's a lot of decapitations.
Yes, especially in the Viking one with the shield.
Predator loves those decapitations.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Robert.
I am at a 3.75. I
Oh,
think I
fuck
really like
off.
this. It's really fun. That's my rating.
3.999.
So I am
Jumps
gonna
down to
give
6 and
this.
6.
Yeah. This is a 2.9764. No. This is a 4 out of 5. Just for those first two stories alone. The third one is good, but I didn't love it. But it was good enough that the stuff where I'm like, I don't know about this, didn't drag down the quality of the film. Robert, where does this rank? Because Noah decided to just blab in the group chat. Where does this rank amongst the Predator movies
I
for you?
thought that was what you wanted. Anyway.
I keep going back and forth on if I like this more than Predator 2 or not. Like the more, because my top two are easily Predator 1, the original, still up top, then Prey. Love both of those. Then I think I'm going Predator 2 and then this one. This is very good. And Predator 2 also has problems. But
Predator 2
I
is
have a lot of
peak.
questions. I have a lot of questions with this. And what I'll with Prey, those couple of gripes we had were easier to overlook because it's like it's in the credits. Like it's not the third act of that movie.
Yeah.
This movie has choices where I'm like, I just need to see where this goes to see where I fully land on it. So this could go higher on my ranking if I'm satisfied with what comes next. But yeah, I think that's where it's at for me right now. I think it's like just below Predator 2.
I think we have the
Still
same
a fun movie,
ranking.
great action.
Yeah, because for me
I
it
think we have
is
like the
the
exact same
original.
ranking.
Yeah, because it's the original, then Prey, then 2, then this, then Predators.
Mhm.
And I mean, I have a ranking for the last 3, but does it matter?
But there is some really strong story stuff here. Great action. If you're a Predator fan, definitely watch this. But it's also how nice is it to like be spoiled again with good Predator stuff,
I
where
know we're eating good.
Yeah.
despite all our issues and gripes, this is still better than some of the others in this franchise.
It's still better than the Shane Black one. Sorry, no, I know how disappointed you are.
Oh, I'm hurt.
Noah, where does this fall for you?
Okay, so I'll go through my ranking. We got number 1 Shane Black's The Predator. Number 2, no, I'm just kidding. We got number 1
Don't
Predator, the
lie.
original.
Don't lie.
Number 1 Predator, 2 Prey. Killer of Killers is actually right after Prey. It's my number 3 favorite of the franchise. And then after that we got Predator 2,
Can you believe
AVP
that he hates
1.
Predator 2 this much? Like,
I like Predator 2. I have it. It's one of my favorites. What are you talking about?
which is funny because
It's come
before
around.
we watched it, you were like, That movie sucks.
I think so. Predator 2 is a movie that I think entirely depends on me watching it in a group of people who like that movie. So every time I do, I have a good time with it. But yeah, after that, AVP 1, then the
Shut up, Noah.
Predator. Then the
Go for it.
Predator. Then Predators. Then AVP 2 at the bottom. Although, to be kind of fair to the AVP movies, I've only seen those once.
To
AVP
be
2, I
fair,
put at the bottom.
AVP 2, you can't really see what's going on anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, I'll just say that that's the worst one, but it's like, to be honest, I don't remember too much about it. So
Um, so real quick, I just want to say, Dan Trachtenberg, if you're watching this on the rarest of chances, can we bring back that mask from the first two?
It's so good.
We've never brought it
please.
back.
Yeah, well, it's usually our default like main predator, like AVP. Like two of them have weird looking masks, and then the one at the end of the movie, the main one has the more traditional mask. And I'm fine with getting away from it for a while for variety, but yeah, I'd like to get back to it.
Yeah. Um. Oh, something else that would have been cool for them to do because this is animated. This you could have done the original Predator design as like an Easter egg here somewhere.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because it is unlockable in that video game.
No, that's true. And the second one, the samurai one, had like the closest design to the one in Prey, where it's like a half top mask with the mandibles are sticking out at the bottom. That's a design Trachtenberg seems to really like. The first one just doesn't have a mask at all for some reason, and then the third one, it's just like over the eye, which was kind of cool. But I don't know if the first one could have had the mask.
Okay, so we are going to be playing a game after this. I know we had mentioned Clock Tower, but I wanted to ask you guys just real quick because we are talking Predator. Did you guys want to play some of that Predator game tonight? The multiplayer one.
I'd personally I'd save that for another day. I like that idea, but just not tonight. But I'm definitely
Robert's
down for
like,
that
I
one
want to
too.
play Clock Tower.
Noah, what's your thought?
I'm good with either, to be honest, but it has been a bit since we played Clock Tower, and I do miss my man, the Scissorman, so I kind of want to see him again.
Do you know is that Predator game is that like cross-platform?
Yeah, it's crossplay.
Okay. Yeah, and I've never played it, and I have it, so I'd actually like rather would play that with you. Let's just pick a different
Oh,
name for that.
okay.
Yeah,
Just
I've just never
install it,
played it.
Robert.
It is installed. I just never played it.
The man's never played it before. Why
You
not? You can just
bastard.
play it on stream for the first
I
time.
own a lot of games I haven't played yet. It's a
Just
problem.
play it on stream for the first time and fail miserably in front of everybody.
Yeah.
No, I probably
Okay.
have to update it. Shit.
Okay, so then I'll just announce it. We'll do that next week. Before we
Okay.
start our next single player game, just a hangout game. It's gonna be like a week after the Predator hype's died down, but that's fine. We play your stupid Clock Tower.
Yay.
Get on the
Maybe we can
Clock
get.
Tower hype.
I gotta sign in with Epic anyway. It's being stupid. Oh, for God's sakes! All right. Oh, we have somebody in our Twitch chat. Polar Knight says, "A barber, I love this show. It is every stage of beard growth." That's true. Robert's trying. He's trying.
I'm trying.
All right. If you are on Twitch, we will be right back. If you are watching on YouTube, stay tuned. We will be starting a second stream for Clock Tower because Robert hates me. No. Have a good night if you're watching on YouTube, and thanks for hanging out.
Later.
See ya.